And we're late.
No, we're not. It's 57.
Oh, that's 1 minute.
Oh, God.
Now it's time. Are you recording? Me mumbling? That's great. Okay. Call the January 7th Plan Commission meeting order. Mr. Planning Manager, please call the roll. I'm here and you're not. What is the color there? Red?
Red here. She's got, I don't know what color that is.
Green?
Green.
All right.
Commissioner Hogan,
Here.
Commissioner Burkhardt,
Here.
Commissioner Haley,
Here.
Oh, he's on the phone. Sorry, Kevin.
City
I'm
Engineer,
here.
City Engineer Morrow is excused. Alderman D'Andrea,
Here.
Commissioner Leon.
Here.
We have please rise and join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes of December 17th. Any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to say Leon first and Hogan second. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Kevin. First item on the agenda, C1, is a public hearing on a special use application and site plan amendment for Bigby Coffee franchise. Mr. Eddy.
Notice is hereby given that the Plan Commission of the City of Franklin will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, January 7, 2021 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard in the Common Council chambers at the Franklin City Hall, 9229 West Loomis Road, Franklin, Wisconsin, 53132, to hear public comment regarding an application by Cream City Ventures LLC for a special use under Standard Industrial Classification Title Number 5812, Eating Places with Drive-Through Facilities, to operate a Bigby Coffee franchise with a drive-up window with hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sundays at 7700 South Lovers Lane Road, property zoned CC, City Civic Center District. This public hearing is being held pursuant to the requirements and standards of Section 15-3.0701, General Standards for Special Uses, 15-3.0703, Detailed Standards for Special Uses in Non-Residential Districts, and 15-9.0103, Applications for Special Use Permit of the City of Franklin Unified Development Ordinance. A copy of the proposed special use resolution in draft form is available and open for inspection by the public in the office of the city clerk at Franklin City Hall, 9229 West Loomis Road, Franklin, Wisconsin, 53132 during normal business hours. The public is invited to attend the public hearing to provide input. Proposed draft form resolution is subject to revisions following public hearing and the further considerations by the Plan Commission and the City of Franklin Common Council.
Appears we have a properly noticed public hearing. Our normal routine is to then have the planner who worked on the project give us highlights. Ms. Sachs.
Thank you, Mayor. So this application is for a site plan amendment and special use. The special use being for the review of this body and the site plan subject to your approval. So the applicants are looking to use an existing end-capped unit in the strip mall in the Target Civic Center development on Drexel and Lovers Lane Road. It's this southern wall, which is subject to the site plan and the circulation question that's before you today. The use itself, this building, that end cap unit was specifically designed to have a drive-through. All drive-throughs are subject to special use approval. So the applicants have responded to the general standards for special uses, and because it was purpose-built, it meets the standards for that, so it's your evaluation of the use, but planning had no comments on the special use. With regards to the site plan, because of the circulation plan that's there, there is not a circulation plan for the overall development, and there's no markings. So they're planning on putting in some signage and pavement markings in order to better regulate the flow of traffic here, because it's a little confusing when you approach it. So they're going to put in an ordering console, basically, as one would, and then they have to cross over a traffic lane to get to the order spot. So it's a question of just making sure that that traffic flow is regulated logically. So that was a comment that they received on the site plan, and this is the proposed pavement markings and locations of signage that they have before you for consideration today. So in addition, although this was purpose-built for a drive-through, they're also adding this drive-up window to the wall. It's the Cream City brick area underneath the awning there. So it's an elevation of the proposed sliding window and the location of that. So, and that is the totality of the application. So,
Very much. This is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing on this matter. Is anyone from the public here to speak on this matter? Anyone here to speak on the matter? Seeing no one rise, I'll close the public hearing. Questions from the commission? Commissioner Leone.
Just one question for the applicant as part of the markings you put up. Is there going to be some sort of yield? And I don't even know if they can do a yield. And I assume that your customers would have to yield to the traffic moving from behind the building, which I doubt there'd be much because it's just a little bit of parking back there. But can you just confirm if you're going to put a yield sign up?
It's on. It's on.
Need your name.
So, my name is Keith Washington. My business partner is Curtis Grace, who's also here.
Hi, I'm Curtis Grace. We also have our landlord is also on, as well as our contractor.
We can't hear you through your mask. So use the mask.
We also have our landlord, Ross, is on the line. He called in, and our contractor is also on. For this question, as far as the signage, Ross might be able to speak a little bit better on the if it's a yield sign going up or what signage can pop up. So I'll see if Ross can
hi
take over.
everyone. Ross Cousins with Franklin Wyndham LLC here. Could we? I'm trying. Hi all. I'm trying to pull up the kind of the site plan. Is there any way we could go back to the circulation plan?
Guys, maybe I can short circuit this. If you look on the
Sure.
on the proposed plan, you see right at the intersection there, across from the back corner of the building, you see a little dash. Harry, can you back up a page? See this right here?
Yes.
That's a stop sign.
Okay. There you go.
I've been
There
doing
we
this a
go.
long time.
Okay.
Sorry, Ross. All due respect.
Thank you much.
No
Any other
worries.
questions from the commission? I just have one comment, and with the circulation as it's going to be, I can see a lot of people doing what I would do, which is come up here and turn right and miss the ordering station. So,
That's your problem.
Ross, if you could put that's a sign right there that says right turn only. If you could put a sign up here, Ross, that says something about turning left to get into the drive-through, that'd be great, because I see a lot of people, especially me, trying to short circuit the drive-through, because that's the kind of guy I am.
Sure.
Yeah, if I may, there is some, I guess, with this proposed, with the drive-through, I guess the left, coming into the left signal is going to be on obviously the right side of the markings. There is going to be additional strip to keep people on the right side of the traffic flow to not impede other traffic and, I guess, affect the target flow as well. So there will be sufficient signage and markings.
I have zero concern about blocking this or this one. I have no concern about that, because people just don't park over here.
It's a huge parking lot too, so it's like
We do parking real well here. Right, Ross? But
That's right.
I'm suggesting that somewhere up here, maybe both in the median and on the side, that's a sidewalk, but if you can, on the sidewalk side, just put drive-through, turn left. Something like that, Ross.
Are you talking about the island that kind of separates, and to the left of it is the drive? I see what you're saying. Yeah, I would think we can definitely do that.
Anyone else?
Commissioner Haley,
Commissioner Haley, please.
quick question. Have we heard back from Target about the proposed markings on their pavement?
We have. I did since the I guess the production of the plan minutes or whatever. We did hear back from them. They're in full support. And you know, their really only comment was to have the traffic flow appropriately marked, and I think we do. But they acknowledge that, you know, the site was made for a drive-through in mind, and they're in full support.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Mr. Eddy, you have a proposed motion?
Yeah, we have a proposed motion to recommend approval of a resolution imposing conditions and restrictions for the approval of a special use to operate a Bigby coffee franchise with a drive-up window out of an existing vacant space, Unit 100, within a multi-tenant building located at 7700 South Lovers Lane Road.
So moved.
Second. Leon and Burkhart. Any discussion on that motion?
No.
All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 There you go. Any opposed? Motion carries. You have another motion, Mr. Eddy?
Yes, we have a motion to approve a resolution amending the site plan for property located at 7700 South Lovers Lane Road, Unit 100, to allow for site improvements to accommodate the operation of a Bigby Coffee franchise, tax key number 794-999-9006.
So moved.
Second.
Hogan and Leon. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. So, how long for the build-out, Ross?
Well, I think we'll be open by spring, right, Keith and Curtis?
February is what you said? That's what you've been saying on the internet.
We are going to do everything we can to get this thing up as soon as we can. I know it. So we're really excited.
And we're all looking forward to it too. And Ross, I'm glad that you filled that end cap. I know what a challenge it's been for you. So thank you very much. Congratulations, guys. We look
Absolutely.
forward to opening day.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Great
Thank you.
operators and a great use for sure.
I'm sorry, Ross?
I said they're great operators, and it's a great use for that space. It's going to be a real big boon for the center. We know it.
And I don't think they have any clue on how popular and successful they're going to be. I'm serious.
We're very excited. So if we could get open and break ground, our contractor, Gary Tree, is on there. He's been awesome, and he's basically has material ready to get started. As soon as we get the City of Franklin's blessing in the building department, we can get started.
Well,
Amen.
I'm signing the planning documents tomorrow morning, so you can go see the planner tomorrow morning as far as I'm concerned.
The special use still has to go to common council, so
Yes.
after that.
I forgot. Okay, guys, well, that's only a week from now.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Before, guys, this is Gary Tree. Before we break up, I just would like to get a confirmation on the actual construction permitting timeline and when that would be initiated. There was some discussion with staff earlier about being able to concurrently do those reviews for the permit plans post approval of the plan commission, and while we were waiting for common council to meet. So is anybody able to comment on that? And
The mayor can comment on that in as much as I'll tell you to call me tomorrow.
okay, and who is
414-651-3367.
3367? And what's the first three digits, please?
651.
No, 414. 651.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Okay, thanks, guys.
I'll call you tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Ross, you
Thank
got
you.
the next one here. Next item is a business matter D, which is a learning experience approval of signage. Ms. X.
Thank you. So this item is a master sign program amendment. This is also at the shops of Wyndham Village. The learning experience development was in for a number of approvals last year, including a site plan a UDO text amendment, et cetera. One of the conditions of approval for that site plan was the requirement that they amend the master sign program for the shops at Wyndham Village because the signage as proposed is not allowable under that master sign program. So the proposal that was submitted was basically, their initial proposal was a request to make an amendment item by item of the master sign program so that they could allow for the signage. However, because the request that they're making deviates pretty significantly from what would be allowable under a master sign program, it is essentially deleting some of the design standards for the master sign program. Planning staff could not recommend approval of that proposal. So the applicants have come back with a new request that they be removed from the master sign program. I'm going to walk through what's being proposed and how it differs. Staff does not recommend allowing this. However, it is subject to the Plan Commission's decision. So I'm going to talk you through kind of what the signage looks like. So this is...
Excuse me, Mary, Ms. X, you say that staff does not recommend approval. Is that a professional recommendation based on good planning, or is that a recommendation based on how our ordinances are written? It's
both. So the master sign program here, the code for a master sign program requires that the sign program have a cohesive identity. So that is, it's not in the UDO, it's in the sign code. And then the separate piece of this, so that's the ordinances. The design part of this is that there is an overall development here that was created with one idea of how it should look, and some standards that have been applied across the development. And in this case, this is a significant deviation from the sign program. They also need to make an additional request that was not included in the application. So it is subject to the Plan Commission's decision. This is your decision, but it is not the department's recommendation that they be removed from the master sign program, but instead to amend the master sign program to allow for some of the signage, not the totality of it. So,
keeping in vein with my original question, so really what the master sign program does is it codifies a design that's been submitted by the property developer and owner, and all we're doing is guaranteeing that it continues for the future. Is that fair?
yes.
Okay. Please go ahead.
So, and there are some standards of what that looks like. Basically, like the main criteria is that it be cohesive. So in the case of the shops of Wyndham Village, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to show you some of the existing signage. So this is the monument sign that's on the applicant's property. And then these are some of the signs in the shops at Wyndham Village. The standard essentially is that they're allowed one primary branded color, a secondary accent color, and then white on all of their signages. And these are two examples of signs that do that on the shops of Wyndham Village property. There are some signage that predates the MSP that has not been phased out because there's some long-standing businesses there that still have the box signs that predate the master sign program. But this is the type of signage that has been permitted under the MSP. And this is the existing monument sign. What the applicant is proposing is their branded signage with no allowances for the master sign program. It constitutes this, there's several elements here. So at the top over the doorway are channel letter signs and their logo, which is the Bubbles the elephant, and then black lettering. So what does not meet the standard here is the multicolor lettering. They could have a color. It would have to be one of the two colors that they select as a branded color.
So what you're saying is take the green and make it white, then it would work.
Yeah, and then Bubbles would have to be, he could have gradation, but it would have to be a more limited palette. However, the blocks signage, while I get it that they're really fun, they're not allowed, and they also are of a material, the proposed material is not one that is allowed under the master sign program. So those blocks down the columns are not, they don't meet the standard. It's very different from what is elsewhere on the property. So I get it. It's a place for children, but I would think that the interior could reflect that as well. So, so this is the detail of the sign, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of colors here. So it's kind of weighing the aesthetic of the master sign program. This property is physically connected to, you can only access it from the shops at Wyndham Village. It's aesthetically connected to it. And it's not our recommendation that it be removed from the master sign program. So this is the monument sign. The current sign here is what's under the master sign program indicated as an identity sign. They would be making it a tenant sign. Planning doesn't have any objection to that, but they would have to make that request today. And that was not included in the materials that were presented. So it's the commission's decision, but the recommendation would be that at least some accommodation be made for the master sign program.
If I may interject, this is Gary Wendt with Bradford Real Estate Companies. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yep, you're doing fine.
I've been listening in, and I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'll respond to some questions whenever that is appropriate.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, so essentially we have two options here.
Correct.
One is to do a whole bunch of modifications to the master sign program, or the second one is to just take it out of the master sign program.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Cousins?
Yes.
You provided a letter. It's in your packets, Plan Commissioners. You want to highlight your opinions and statements on this particular matter, please?
Sure. So I think we are definitely approving, and I think we have officially, signed off on the monument sign, I guess, adjustment. And, I can't speak for our principal, but I would think that if the question is, would we be in support of the learning experiences signage on their actual building, I think the answer would be yes. Again, I don't want to speak completely out of turn, but we wouldn't see any issue with it, I don't think.
And Mr. Cousins, I'm asking that specifically based on my questions to Associate Planner X earlier in the conversation, is that the master sign program is really there to protect the developer, the original developer's intent and the look of the development. And he's gone now, and
right.
Your company now is the owner of the development. So
that's correct.
That's why I asked for your
opinion. Yep.
Commissioner Leon. Oh, okay. Alderman Dandridge.
I've got a question in regards to how far along is the new Berlin facility? Is it under construction? Did they approve the signage that is being presented to us today?
So we have 3 completed projects in Wisconsin. New Berlin is one. That facility is completed. The certificate of occupancy has been issued, and the learning experience corporate is setting up the FF&E, the fixtures, getting it ready for opening. And the trademark lettering and bubbles is installed over the entryway, and the ABC blocks, as we call them, 1, 2, 3, in the 4 colors, is installed as well.
Okay.
And the third element on all of the TLE projects that we've done, and the 250 that are around the country, typically have a monument sign dedicated with that same, basically the same logo and the learning experience on both sides of a monument sign at the, call it the entry point to the site. if you would go back to the existing identification sign or the monument sign, yeah. So since that is on the TLE property, excuse me, TLE is the learning experience. So that's the acronym I'll use sometimes.
Okay.
Rather than have a second monument sign, we agreed to modify this one. And if you go to the next slide, that one, you'll see that the development team wanted 2 panels, and the learning experience is in the font, but they're working with staff and the Plan Commission many months ago. We kept that as all white lettering. So that's uniform. Whereas on the building, if you go to the next slide, Bubbles, the elephant, is in full color, as well as the learning experience. And those are backlit, individual backlit signs, letters. And then the only thing that's, the black is die cut and not backlit.
So is this is your brand, correct?
It is.
This
It's
is a
trademarked.
franchise. Is this
It's a
a
brand.
franchise?
The Learning Experience is a franchise corporation. Currently, they do not have a franchisee at this location. They will open it up as a corporate facility, as they call it.
Okay, so this is a requirement. This would be a requirement of anybody wanting to franchise a location of the learning experience, correct?
It is.
Correct.
And this is what Bradford has done 10 locations. We've had that signage at the front entrance on all of those locations.
Okay, I've got enough information for myself. As I see this, we've, from the council on up, when we've allowed this facility to come in, we knew what kind of a building we were putting and who was going to be a tenant in this building. I am more apropos to lean toward allowing the branding to be consistent with the franchise and to allow the coloration. We're going to be up against anybody that wants to form a franchise. We may have a question with Bigby Coffee with a franchise coloration that they're going to be forced to do. When you sign these FTDs and these franchise agreements, these franchisors and the franchisees have to follow the guidelines. So I see they're being flexible with the main entryway, but on the building, I'd be flexible. It's going to be eye-appealing and catchy to families that are going to utilize the facility. And it's off to the side. That's my opinion.
Anyone else? Commissioner Burkhardt.
Yeah, I guess I'll offer my 2 cents on it as well. The thing that sticks out to me that Associate Planner X brought up was the cohesive identity, which is the first thing that kind of stuck out about this, being that everything else looks the same and there's a certain character to the development, understanding that the person who decided on protecting that character is no longer involved. But I guess my question would be for the applicant, were you aware of the master sign plan and the requirements when this first started? Because I know we made some other concessions at the beginning of this, cross-access easements and things like that. So I'm a little bit curious why this wasn't brought up in the beginning of this rather than as an afterthought once the building is pretty close to complete.
We certainly had early illustrations of the signage program. We've been working with the city for a year and a half anyway. This signage application, which is the last piece, was submitted in February of this year, and we're getting our first hearing today. But the signage program was simply a repeat of what we had worked with the city from months before that. You can go back to the permit drawings. They show that. They show the monument sign with the white lettering, and they show the ABC blocks, which I will say is also a concession. The typical branded ABC blocks are three-dimensional on white wooden columns. So in those four primary colors, you get well, they're all cubes, but in the same kind of elevation that you see there. And because we were asked to bring in some of the same material elements that you have at the Pick and Save and other places on this freestanding building, I will say, we changed that standard to the stone that you can see around the column. The column is more like 30 inches by 30 inches, and the ABC blocks are about 24 inches square or diamond shaped. One thing that has been pointed out is that typically those are made out of wood in the three dimensions as cubes. And candidly, that material doesn't last for many years. It requires maintenance and the like. I was on site with TLE Corporate earlier this week, and we're delighted to see the building almost being finished. And we've talked about alternate materials, and we're fine with them being kind of surface applied, as you can see here on the stone. But what the signage manufacturer has recommended is that we make those out of aluminum that are pre-finished in those colors and attached. And we think that's a very good direction, and one that TLE Corporate has endorsed. So that would be a further enhancement from what is typical. And that's what we would request.
Mr. Wendt, I'll just speak for Commissioner Burkhart. I think Commissioner Burkhart's question related to, were you aware, and when did you get the Franklin sign program requirements? That was your question, wasn't it, Adam?
No, the question was, didn't he know what it was in the...
It's the same, different ways, the same thing. So you were talking about our side, not theirs.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Yes, the master signage program was part of the REA that we understood about the development. And yet in the early stages, when we were going through site plan review and the building elevations, we had that pretty much this program, not what you see finally, but more of the corporate standard. And it was not recommended, and so it morphed into, I think, a better direction, and we're comfortable with what's being submitted. So we knew about it early, we addressed it early with staff and those presentations to the Plan Commission, knowing that signage was yet a third requirement that we would have to accomplish. So that's what we're about this evening.
Great.
And may I just interject too? This is Becky Stark with Caldwell Engineering. We're working with Bradford on the design of the site. We did submit, as Gary mentioned, that signage application in February of last year, and understand that the process of review is that it first goes to the planning department, then back to the inspection services. And we did not receive comments on that application until I think November of this last year. So I think that would address the question of why we're coming forth with this.
Okay, thank
this
you.
ripoff
I don't
at
think
this
that
time.
was the nature of the issue, but that's an issue for us, and I heard it, so. Gary, I heard it, Becky, I heard it.
Thank you.
My comments to this go in the line that Alderman Dandria did. Every picture we saw when we approved this had the signage as the original plan. And I don't recall anybody having an adverse comment on it. I'm very sensitive to corporate branding. Yeah, it's bright and it's loud and it doesn't really fit in with the development, but I justify that in my own head by saying the owner of the development doesn't care and supports this. And in my view, this is sitting off to the side, kind of, sort of. So one of my suggested conditions was to make the ABC 1, 2, 3, 4 out of either Plex or aluminum. They already took care of that. My only thing is for Russ, I would like to see, to justify in my head and to the Common Council and the Plan Commission, I would like to see that monument sign have Shops at Wyndham Village on the top of it in the archway. You know what I'm talking about? So that it continues to be an identity sign, right? You know, the archway above the learning experience sign.
Sure. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So not in the future tenant here place, but above the learning center experience
That's right.
boarding.
That's right.
Got it.
Anyone else have?
Commissioner Haley?
Commissioner Haley, please.
Thank you. I'm following this. I'm in agreement with most of what we're saying. If I had to put it simply, I think we should stay within the master sign program. I'm okay with giving them some latitude on their overhead, their corporate sign. I understand why that's appropriate. But the ABCD 1, 2, 3 stuff on the columns is problematic. I understand why they want that. We asked, I mean, those are masonry columns. They were put there to add to the aesthetics of the building. And I appreciate why they want them there, but I don't see where that does anything to the overall aesthetics of the building and the shopping center. So again, I think it makes sense to stay within the sign program, make exceptions to allow their corporate logo up above the doorway, but it's probably simpler just to lose the ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4, not have to deal with the ongoing maintenance. Let the masonry speak for itself. Those are my thoughts.
We have two options here. One is to fit this into the master sign program, which would cause us to have to make a number of different motions. Is that correct?
So the resolution as drafted includes all of the
Hello?
requested changes with the exception of if there is a
Hello?
change to the, hello?
Who is helloing?
Hello, is anybody there?
Kevin?
Commissioner Haley.
Commissioner Haley?
We can hear you.
For you.
Put your mic on mute.
Well, okay. So can you move that box?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. Hang
Yeah,
on.
if we're still,
I'm not.
click and hold on participants.
Yeah, I lost the mouse again. Please hold. There it is. There we go.
We don't see our image.
I don't see him at all.
Are we offline?
We lost Commissioner Haley.
Actually,
Yes.
Mr. Cousins? Oh, there, Gary's moving. Okay. All right. So I don't know what Haley's issue is, but he'll try to call back in. So Marion, please continue.
Sure.
Oh, there's Haley.
Haley's back.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Excellent.
We were worried about you.
So in your packet, you've been provided with two resolutions for this master sign program amendment. One would be the option to remove this property from the MSP. The other includes all of the requested alterations. And then as noted in your staff report, there are 3 that staff don't recommend, but you have the option to delete any of the requests that you choose. I will note that I concur with your suggestion to add identity to the existing monument sign to maintain that as an identity sign, because that request would need to be made in either resolution's case if this is the design that they're going with. So by adding that back in, then you wouldn't need to do that.
So using that resolution, which is the resolution just before the site drawing, if the commission went with Commissioner Haley's issue, we would remove condition 10. Would that accomplish what Commissioner Haley was?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Wendt, did you hear that? You're on mute. There you go.
I did hear the comment and the condition 10, which is the ABC blocks.
Okay. Anyone else with issues? All right. Someone on the commission say option B or option A? Option B is leave it, master sign code in there, leave them in the master sign code, but make adjustments. Option A is take them out.
B.
Let's do this. No, we don't need to do it by motion. Any objection to going there, leave them in the program? Alderman Dandridge?
I don't have an objection. I just want to make we're clear. We are allowed in option B to make these changes that we've discussed.
Right.
Leaving the color over the door, but you want, in the columns, you want 1 or 2 colors.
No.
No.
Let's
Or nothing
Okay.
on the columns.
All right, let's, hold on 1 second. Okay, so without hearing any objections, we're going to go with leaving them in the master sign program. Now, discussion of the ordinance that's in your packet. Commissioner Haley requirement is that we remove condition 10, which says the master sign program is hereby amended to allow for multicolor, non-illuminated painted plywood and acrylic signage on 3 sides of the entryway columns. That would be removed. Therefore, the applicant could not put up the ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. Commissioner Leon.
So I heard the applicant say he understood it. I'm not clear, are you okay with that?
Well, it's not a negotiation.
No.
We do it or we don't.
But
It's us.
Yeah, but I'd like to hear their.
Mr. Wendt?
This is an important element for the kids that come through that front entrance each and every day. I'm sorry, 5 days a week. And it is part of the signature that the learning experience has, and in your packet are those trademark documents. I will tell you that of the 250, I'm rounding numbers, there may be a dozen other locations that do not have the ABC in the 3-dimension or on the building itself. So if that's a take it or leave it direction, I believe I can get the learning experience to accept that direction.
Well, Mr. Wendt, I said earlier, I've been doing this a long time. My sense is that this one accommodation would be the accommodation that would allow all others to stay in the package. So
yeah,
that would be my.
I'm reading that also from the discussion, and so
okay.
I would be in agreement with the option B and striking that one condition, number 10.
And Ross, as a separate thing, I don't know what we would need to do to allow them to change the monument sign to add. That can't be a condition of this because it's not the same person, not the same company, but.
Sorry, I'm not following the question.
Go on that sign,
Right.
but stops at Wyndham Village right here.
Well, actually, that sign is located on the TLE property that we own.
So
And
Gary,
there was-
can we have TLE do that and charge Ross? What I'm going for here, and this is not a make or break for me, I'll just do bad negotiations right up front. This is just one of those things where it would be nice to maintain it as somewhat of an overall shopping center identity sign. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to cry, but Ms. X.
Right. So one of the questions that the Plan Commission has to address, the applicant needs to make there is a number of identity signages that either needs to be maintained, which if you add that information would maintain that, or they need to request that the sign be removed as an identity sign, that request needs to be made today. So if they add it on, you don't have to do anything. If they do not, then we would have to add an additional change to either of the resolutions.
Can we go back to the existing picture?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're there.
So perhaps it's working with that on the upper half and the one tenant sign on the lower half.
I hate doing this in public because it's really a waste of everybody's time because it's not that big a deal for me. But on the sign on Drexel and Highway 100, it's configured where it's multi-tenants on essentially from the cap of the brick on down, and it's got small shops at Wyndham Village in that logo above it. So, there is a sign like that. But
Okay,
this is not a make or break thing for me.
But if there's another example, we can follow that.
Okay.
So I can pull up a photo now if the commission would like to see it, or we can move on.
Do you have that photo?
Let me see if I do.
Again, I'm making a mountain out of a molehill.
No, you're not.
In my view. No, Commissioner Hogan.
It's all the way down here. Sorry, bear with me. Well, so they're now addressed separately. The address is on Drexel, so it's different. No, it's here. So these are the existing signs. I believe I have a photo of this sign.
Bottom left, right?
This one? Is that, can everyone see that? Well, can they see?
Yeah, that one. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. That we can work with.
Okay.
The bottom half is a 2-tenant two-panel sign, if you will, and we'll mimic that.
Yeah, and I'm not, thank you, Gary. I'm not going to ask staff about this because it's like, if we already have one, why is the other one such a big deal? So, and Miss X does my favorite move. I don't know. That's the logic behind some of our planning, so.
They're explicitly listed in the master sign program, so
Okay.
we just need to keep
All
the
right,
number
so
the same.
Mr. Eddy, can you fashion us a motion which includes the monument sign that they needed to add to this?
A motion to approve a resolution approving an amendment to the master sign program for the shops at Wyndham Village Commercial Retail Center to allow for the learning experience daycare signage and its removal from the program requirements.
This is option.
To allow for the learning, okay. Okay, yeah, the learning B, which is a motion to approve a resolution approving an amendment to the master sign program for the shops at Wyndham Village Commercial Retail Center to allow for the learning experience daycare signage, 9651 West Drexel Avenue, with removal of condition number 10 and the proposed resolution and the insertion of a new condition, let's call it number 10, to amend the identity sign located on the learning experience property to mimic the other identity monument sign located on Highway 100 at the Target entrance.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion of that motion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing that, motion carries. 6 ayes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, I believe. Okay, thank you very much. I think we're done
Thank you. We,
With that one.
with Wyndham Village. Thanks, guys.
I'm done.
Yes.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Appreciate the
Appreciate it.
flexibility. I think it worked out well. Thank you.
Yes, thank
I
you
agree.
very much.
Thank you.
Move on to the item 2, Oaks Estates, single-family residential land combination and stormwater easement. Ms. X.
Yeah, so this item was prepared for you by Planner Martinez. However, I am your planner for the evening. So this application is for a land combination to merge lots on the existing Oaks Estates subdivision plat. There's a number of things that are being done here, in fact. So it's a land combination, and there's a related affidavit of correction. So basically, there's 2 existing lots, and the applicant would like to combine them into a single lot. This is the existing subdivision plat. The affidavit of correction basically will incorporate the changes that are made by the land combination into the subdivision plat. There's also a stormwater easement along the lot line here, and so that has been relocated. The easement has already been moved. So this is basically to allow for a larger buildable lot. It complies with all of the relevant zoning, and engineering has already approved the new utility plan. So are there any questions?
Question for Christian? Alderman Medandria?
Ms. X, can you refresh the commission's memories in regards to this area and this parcel? Is this the area that has had significant water issues in the past? And was this the property that Greg Marceau was going to build on and that he was going to do something? I'm just trying to understand. There were some problems back in this area, and is this?
Yeah, this is not that.
This is not that.
No,
Okay.
This is upstream of that, but if you remember the topology, this is at the corner of what I call 92nd Street,
Yeah.
which is Woelfel and Woelfel Road. It extends down into the east towards this is the old Mar property.
Okay,
And so it's downhill from the problem that Greg Marzo has.
okay.
So yeah, I'm not an engineer, but I don't believe that this is anywhere near the water that his problem is.
Okay, I just want to make sure there weren't any significant issues.
Mr. Eddy, you have a motion?
Okay, legal gave me a double motion, so it's both of them, okay? So we're going to do land combination and affidavit of correction on one. Motion to recommend approval of a resolution conditionally approving a land combination and an affidavit of correction to relocate a 20-foot storm water drainage easement for tax key numbers 7540080 000 and 7540081 which are 7460 South Cambridge Drive, 8881, I don't know why they've got all these addresses, lots 10 and 11 of the Oaks Estates subdivision, and to approve the combination of the two lots into one.
Is there a second?
Second.
Leon and Burkhart.
Okay.
Comments on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That was an affirmative vote. Okay, good. Motion
Correct.
carries 5 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions. Mr. Eddy, we've got another motion?
No, you did all of it at once.
Is it all in one? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Hogan and Dandria. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. That again was affirmative. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.